This is the HomeTech Podcast for Friday, April 21st. From Sarasota, Florida, I'm Seth Johnson.
From Lewis Center, Ohio, I'm TJ Huddleston.
And from Pickering, Ontario, I'm Gavin Campbell.
Welcome to the HomeTech Podcast, a podcast about all aspects of home automation, home technology, home theater, dare I say? I don't know. TJ and I have been partaking in Adam Justice's theater build, I guess. And we sat down and recorded our second episode with them for the Smart Home Show, and I think we're still trying to figure out seats. I think at this point, I think everything else has been figured out, but it turns out the most important thing you can actually put in your theater is seats. And if you don't know what seats you're going to sit in, it kind of holds everything else up.
Yeah, it kind of determines where the speakers are going to go and how high you need your riser to be, and pretty much everything else about a home theater. So, a little important.
So this is episode 2 you guys are working on, and that's all you've done?
2 out of 20 at least.
You're going to have a whole Netflix series by the time you're done. You're going to have to binge listen.
Maybe we can sell it to Netflix. That's a good idea. Or Max.
And I'll get the snacks.
It's not, just stop trying to make it happen, Gavin. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
So, snacks and Max. If it does happen, you heard it here first, okay?
Well, yeah, it's a fun conversation. We wrapped up the second recording the other day.
Last Friday.
Yeah, last Friday. I don't know how it takes them a little while to get it out, but that was a good conversation. We talked about a bunch of different things, but now we're kind of at the point I think we got to talk about seats. So hopefully we'll get to that. There's all sorts going on. He posted a video for us to look at, and the room is already kind of framed in and almost ready to go. It looks pretty good.
It'll be July before I know it, and I'll be traveling to Illinois to help him with the theater as strictly as a friend.
It'll be fun. Vacation, a working vacation. That's what they say.
Right. Yeah, honestly, those are always the best to me because you get to work a little bit, you can make a little bit of money, or hang out with friends and all that good stuff, and then you can go have some fun. So, probably spend 2 or 3 days doing the theater and all the other technology in the house, then go to Chicago for a couple days, and then drive back. And the good news is it's only 6-hour drive, I think, at most.
Oh, that's not bad.
So it's not going to take long to get there at all, which is nice.
We have to get Gavin in there to help watch the theater when we're all done.
Yeah. I'll do a sound test.
We could just travel there after Cedia, make a group road trip, everybody to Adam's house.
I'll let you know if you pick the right seats.
All right. Well, we got a couple new products this week, both on the pro side and the DIY side, and got a bunch of different headlines from things going away and things. New products, new things, and things going away, I guess is what I want to say. So what do you say we jump into those home tech headlines?
Let's do it.
Well, the first thing up is everyone seems to be excited in the DIY space about this new Aqara FP2 sensor that they've come out with for $82 or 5,000 Canadian. I'm not sure which you want to say on that. Evidently, it's very expensive in Canada to buy this. But it's a Wi-Fi. It's a presence sensor, Wi-Fi required, and this sounds like the millimeter wave one, right? It's not the PIR version, infrared.
Correct.
Yeah. So and Gavin actually has one of these sitting within arm's reach of him, and he's been playing with this thing. So Gavin, every YouTube video personality has given their review. Now it's your time. Your turn. What do you think of this thing?
Oh, I feel special. I feel special all of a sudden. No, they posted it a day early on Amazon, so I ordered it yesterday. I ordered 2 of them actually, and they came in today, and I've been playing with it all day, and it's pretty impressive. I'm impressed. So in the box, you get the sensor, you get a USB cord. It comes with no power brick. It's USB-C, and a very small manual that no one's ever going to read. So they could have left that out of there, and some mounting hardware. So it's a pretty small box, pretty nice. Feature-wise, it's compatible with HomeKit, Home Assistant, Amazon, Google, IFT, Alice, and their own Aqara Home app, which gives you all the features, right? You don't need an Aqara hub, and you don't need a HomeKit hub to use it with the other things, right? It's all locally based, so that's good too. You mentioned it does run on Wi-Fi. Yes, it communicates over Wi-Fi, but it also has Bluetooth in there for the onboarding, and apparently Matter support is being promised later via an OTA update. But I mean, honestly, after playing it it's like, what is Matter really going to add to this whole thing for me? Like, it works really well. Some of the features, it has a light sensor in it, the multi-zone sensor, so you can have it in a room configured so that it only acts on presence on things like if that happened in the couch or in a chair, or in a specific part of the room. So you can have all these zones set up and they'll trigger independently, and you can have lights follow you around the room if you want. So they're only on when somebody's in that area, right? That's actually really cool. And it can track up to 5 different people in a room. Now, when you have it added to the app, you can actually see in the app, it will show you all the people it detects and where they're moving around in the room and stuff. So it's pretty impressive, like what it's doing and how accurate it is. So I was kind of blown away. Now, setting it up, it's a little tricky with Home Assistant. So with the Aqara app, you just add it. If you have an iOS, it automatically puts it in HomeKit. That was easy. Like, it couldn't have been any easier, right? Getting into getting into the Home Assistant was a little bit trickier. I found the trick. Someone posted it on one of the videos online, and it's in the Home Assistant forum. So the trick, basically is what you want to do is you add it to the Aqara Home app. You set up a bunch of zones, then you go into the HomeKit app, you delete the zone, it will remove all the zones, but then you can also add it to Home Assistant at that point. And then it will see it, and you can have it in Home Assistant and the Aqara app. So now you can configure it, and it all the settings like migrate over to Home Assistant right away. So if someone else is trying to do this, don't bang your head. I just told you what you're going to have to do. It's in the forums. Check the show notes if you really need to know, because I spent a good few hours trying to get this thing working. So, it's really great. It's pet friendly. There's options for interference, where you could block out certain parts of the room where you would have like a drape or a fan so that it doesn't trigger this sensor, right? So you could set up those kind of zones. It's IPX5 rated, so you could put it outside, but like under a roof or something like that, where it's not like getting rained on directly. But you also got to make sure that the plug that you're using is also waterproof. OTA updates, they are promising a lot of updates in the future, right? They're talking about things like sleep tracking, people counting. If you want to count how many people come into a room and leave a room, for example, it can do things like that. Now, the only thing I have to say to sum all of this up, I saw this written on their website and it kind of rubbed me the wrong way. There's a small note on their website that says, please note, some newly added features may require the Aqara subscription. Right? And that's a little note on their website. And I'm like, what's this subscription? Is it going to be another subscription service? Are they going to start charging you for, some updates with new features? I'm pretty sure we'll hear more about that later on. So, but it was one of those things where it's like, oh, these are all the things that we're going to be bringing to you through updates. But please note, you may have to pay for them. I don't know. We'll see. So my initial thoughts, it's a great product. It's a little expensive, but it does replace multiple sensors. And it works really well. And I think this is one of those devices where I think you're going to see a lot of YouTubers giving ideas on how they use it. And, you're going to see people like me, like doing multiple automations in a room with just this one device mounted on the wall. So, I'll be talking about it in the future when I get to play with it a little more.
So you said it's pet friendly. Can you set it for like different weights and stuff like that? Is that what you mean? Or
it for now it says small pets, right? Which I guess they won't trigger it, or you could set the sensitivity of it or the zones or whatever. But they also mentioned that they're refining that that feature. So over time, through software updates, I guess they will get more data and they'll be able to refine it to know what is a pet. Because it can do like right now it could do just body existence in an area, or it could do personal positioning. The location and proximity of people to the device. But then it can also monitor things like falling. Right? If a person following, you have to mount it differently for that. You have to mount it on the roof, but from there, they also will be able to do things like tracking what someone's actually doing, right? Or and that's, I guess, some of the updates we're going to see over time, right? And I think we saw them talking about this, but I'm pretty sure inside they're tracking as like a little stick figure of your body and using that, and then they're analyzing it. And I'm going to say this only once this show, probably using some AI stuff, to track all this.
I'm going to make you say it again.
No. I'm so sick of saying AI. I said it again.
No, that's pretty cool though, because I get the problem I have is that I don't know if it's just my lack of searching or something, but I can't find any like Z-Wave or Zigbee motion sensors that are pet immune or let you actually adjust
very
it.
few.
It's a very common thing in the security industry. They basically give you two options where it's one that's pet immune and one that's not pet immune. But for some reason, like the DIY automation space, it's not a very common thing. And I have a large cat that's like 20 pounds, and she sets off my motion sensors everywhere she goes.
Yeah, very few. And some people, they like, when I was looking into that with my small dog as well, and some people said tape over the bottom of the sensor so it didn't pick up below a certain amount. But with a cats jump up onto things, right? So they'll go above that and probably still trigger it at some point. And so we'll see how this goes. But they said over time they'll be adjusting that feature, probably making it better. So keep an eye on that.
Yeah, my biggest annoyance right now is we have a motion sensor at the bottom of our stairs. When we first walk into our house, we go up the stairs to go to the rest of the house, and so I have a motion sensor at the bottom of the stairs that whenever we open the door, it turns on the stairs light, and then after 5 minutes, it'll turn everything off. But the annoying thing is that like we'll be watching TV, which is right next to the stairs, and she'll go down there to play with bugs or rocks or whatever she plays with, and it sets the motion detector off every single time.
Yeah. You see, with the sensor like this, you don't have to actually do a time that, turn off after 5 minutes, right? It actually detects as soon as you come in. And that's the thing. I did some timing tests. As soon as I walked up to it, it detected me right away. Right? As soon as I walked out of the room, within like 10 seconds, it would say no one's here, and it would then trigger that way. So it was really fast. Where the FP1 people were complaining it was very slow. This one is very fast. So I've set it up in my office. I'm going to be playing around with it because I sit here the most. So when I'm sitting still, I'm going to see if it triggers, on and off at all. And I'm going to set one up in my family room and play with it down there. But if they work out great, this is something you can put in multiple rooms, and there's so many things you can do with this. And I'm looking forward to see what they do over time.
Yeah, I may have misspoken. It uses some kind of radar technology. It's not the same millimeter wave thing that we've been talking about on other sensors, I don't think. So this is a little bit different, but I don't know. It's kind of cool. Oh, I guess it is millimeter wave radar. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, it is millimeter wave. So they've been talking about.
Why does this one work so much faster than the other stuff that's out there that was taken, like some of those? You said that you had one that you put in and it didn't work that quickly. You had to have a PIR to make sure that it triggered instantly, and then the other one finally kicked in. Is just,
I don't know. Secret sauce, who knows? Maybe they do have a PIR built in as well, and they kind of couple it up. But either way, it works really fast. Like I really like it.
Cool. I do like all the stuff you can do with this. I did get a kick out of their the way you do the fall protection is you have to put it on the ceiling, like you were saying, and that
gets a little complicated when it comes to getting power to it. Then, right? Like,
yeah. I mean, if you're creative, but what's funny, I thought, was the range on it on a 8-foot ceiling is only about 6 foot diameter. Basically from the middle of that, so it kind of restricts the range. Otherwise, it looks like this has a 8-meter range. So that's pretty far. What is that?
All right, Grandma. You can only fall in the hallway here. You can't fall anywhere else. Okay.
Do not fall anywhere else. 8 meters, 26 feet. So that's pretty good. Like if you mount it on the wall, 26 feet. If you mount it on the ceiling, it's only going to see left and right of itself. 6 feet for the fall detection. So
we'll wait for the FP3 when they boost those ranges. And maybe they will tweak stuff like that over time with firmware updates. I don't know if that's tweakable as well, So the thing is, it does offer OTA updates. And what a piece of advice, if you buy one, make sure you go in the app and check for updates. Mine had went through 3 updates before it was finally finished. So it didn't do one update to the newest version. It kind of went step by step by step, right? So It's good to see that they already had some updates.
Well, that's the DIY new product. Here's the pro new product, which we haven't had a new pro product hit the market in quite some time. And URC comes out of the gate here with a new game-inspired handheld user interface. That's right. It's a remote control called the TDC 5100. It has a gaming-inspired design, hard and digital buttons, and fast processing. So it's a fast remote. TJ and I were looking at this before the show. We don't see any like RGB LEDs on it, but I guess you could say it's gaming inspired because it looks like an old. I don't know what it looks like, an old PlayStation Pro, PS.
I mean, it looks
PSP. I guess
it looks like a mashup of their previous awful tablet remotes and like a Steam Deck that like had a baby, you know. But this thing, I don't get it. This thing is supposedly the only price I could find was some like random website, but it said it was $1,200 MSRP. I don't.
Wow.
That seems like a lot.
Well, if that's the case, and we do the math, that comes out to 21 buttons at $1,200. It's $74.43 a button. So $75 a button. That's going to top out on our list if that is that price, and that's probably what it is.
And you know this thing is going to have ridiculously awful battery life, right? Like this thing is going to have to be recharged every like 6 hours.
Maybe batteries have gotten better for everybody. Yeah, usually you can get a day's use out of it. So
that's why they didn't put the RGBs on there, is because they didn't want to make the battery life worse.
Well, it does have voice control where you can integrate it in with Alexa, Comcast, Xfinity, or the Apple TV. So that's kind of nice. It's proximity, ambient light sensors, and pickup sensors will wake up the device. Doesn't have the radar yet, but it'll get it next time. And it's got a 5-inch color LCD screen on it. Basically looks like any handheld console gaming thing that you can imagine, that you won't be able to play games on it. I looked on their website. I was really hoping that you could play games on it, and you can't play. It doesn't say anything about being able to play games on it.
I don't know if you mentioned it. Maybe I missed it or not. But the best part is that it features digital buttons.
Yeah.
I don't know what digital buttons are, but I think they're fancy terms or terrible terms for touchscreen. So
I do like that it does mix up having a touchscreen and hard buttons, but I don't know. It's a little bit overboard. Like this. Gavin, I don't think this is going to replace your Logitech Harmony.
No, it definitely will.
No, definitely not at that price, you know. and
I'll get you a good deal on it, Gavin.
It's going to be fun having you at CEDIA, or you can go around and you could walk up to these companies and hold these $1,500 or $2,500 remotes in your hand and say, "Wow."
Yeah.
You'd be like, why would anybody want this? And just watch their soul leave their body.
I'm going to go up to every booth and ask them the price. And when they tell me the price, I'm going to ask them if people really pay that. You know, like I'm going to go, does anybody other than a dealer buy this?
Oh, so nobody's bought it. Well, no, I mean, the dealer question won't really work because only dealers buy stuff at CEDIA for the most part. But
oh, true.
I don't know. There's plenty of URC dealers out there, and they probably like this stuff. So it blends in with their total control platform that they have. So not only do you need to get this, you probably need to get a processor for it, which is probably another $2,000.
This will be perfect for the 90-year-old in your life.
Yeah.
That way they never lose the remote again.
You know what? Even I looked at this and that looks too complicated. Like when it got to the point where I was like, that just looks like overkill for a remote. Like, where's the back button? And then on top of that, I was like, it kind of has too few buttons. I need a few more buttons on there too, right?
That's why you use the digital buttons. Yeah,
digital buttons, Gavin.
I need the tactile feedback. You know, when you just grab the remote and you know where that back button is? You know, that's not going to happen in this, you know, or you're going to accidentally touch the wrong button and everything shuts off. That happens so much.
Well, I mean, the nice thing about the URC stuff is that you can program the buttons to do anything, Gavin. So
yeah, you
could have it set up to launch a rocket if you really wanted to.
And if the rocket's not going the way you want, you can use another button to make it self-destruct.
That's right.
Yeah. Rest in peace, SpaceX Star, whatever it is. Starship. There you go. Yeah, it exploded today as we record.
Aww.
Yeah. Well, you don't learn anything from success.
You learn more from your failures than you do from your successes.
Exactly.
That's what I tell myself too.
So I imagine they'll get back on it. Make another $10 million rocket or $10 billion. I don't know how much these things cost, but yeah. It's a lot of money down the drain. Now, speaking of a lot of money going down the drain, after 25 years of renting out physical copies of media through the mail, Netflix will end its DVD by mail service. Executive announced earlier this week that the company will ship its last red DVD envelopes on September 29th. So get your orders in now. That's evidently this part of the business has been dwindling over the past decade, going from more than $900 million in revenue back in 2013 to less than $150 million last year. So end of an era. They've been trying to kill this thing off for years, though. I can't imagine anyone is surprised about this, but there are people who still use the service, and I guess they're going to Redbox now.
So you said they made 150 million last year.
Yeah.
I'll take over that business. I'll run it. If you want, oh man, I only made 150 million this year. I'm slacking. It's pretty bad when they kill off a business that's making 150 million a year just because.
You just gotta be watching the auction sites. Wait for them to be auctioning off pallets of DVDs.
Well, I know people that were big Netflix DVD users because they get the videos and then copy them and then send them back, right?
Oh, that's illegal.
Well, that's what it was popular for, right? But now what are they going to do?
Netflix has a quarterly revenue of $8.1 billion. So if you put this in, put this in perspective, section. It's probably not worth their time. But yeah, we're plenty of Gavin's time. He'll get on it. He'll get out there and put the stamps on those envelopes.
You want me to run your $150 million a year business? I'll do it. No problem. Seriously, don't cancel this. At least sell it to Google and let them cancel it.
I talked to somebody earlier, and they said that they did like the service for being able to basically test drive some of the 4K Blu-rays when they first came out, like the really high HD Blu-rays that you could get, because some of them they would come out and they weren't worth buying. But if you got it and it had a good recording on it, and it wasn't just like, we made the menu in 4K, but the movie is still the old 1080p movie, and it was worth watching, like he would go and buy the movie then, because the Blu-ray discs are still, the 4K ones are still expensive. So try before you buy. No longer available at Netflix, evidently.
Now you could try before you buy off Amazon, right? You can return everything to Amazon, right?
Yeah, that's right.
It's funny you say that too, because some of those online companies have stopped allowing returns. Like they'll give you a refund, but you don't have to send the item back. So I actually just went through that with Walmart. I was going to return something, and they're like, "Nah, you don't have to bring it back, but here's your refund." So,
I'm going to do that more often.
Best of both worlds.
Yeah, that's happened to me a couple of times. And one time it was with a cyber, the big UPS cyber something.
CyberPower.
Yeah.
CyberPower, yeah, from Amazon. It was a 1500, so it was the largest one they offer, and the one
they didn't want to pay for shipping.
They didn't want to pay that shipping back, no.
Yeah.
And so they just you can keep it, and I'm like, I can probably just replace the batteries on it, and I did, and now it lives right there. Got two.
Years ago when I worked at the summer camp, we bought some PA speakers off Amazon, and we totally bought the wrong one. So I just went to go return them, and they're like, "Nah, you can keep them." And I was like, "Well, I guess. I mean, they're the wrong ones, but for free we can use them, right?"
Excellent. Sometimes you go and tell the robot that something didn't show up, and then because it didn't, and they're like, "Oh, well, why don't you wait tomorrow and talk to the robot again?" You go back and talk to the robot, and then they'll say, "Okay, we'll send you another one." And then both the shipment that didn't show up and the new shipment comes in. So Amazon, I don't know how they're making money at Amazon. I really don't. Maybe it's just they're selling me servers because I'm paying for the servers. But wow,
isn't it basically AWS that pays for it all at this point?
No, I think they do a good job on the sales side of things, but I just don't know how they're doing that part of it. It's kind of weird. Anyway, big news from Apple this week. Apple HomePod smart speakers can now alert you if smoke or CO detector goes off in your house. The sound recognition feature was announced a while back, but it's evidently launched right now and rolling out, I guess, on first and second generation HomePods and the HomePod Mini. Basically, for it to work, you turn on this feature. You have to have a smoke or CO alarms installed in your house. The speakers themselves can't detect actual smoke or carbon monoxide, but they will listen for the sound frequencies that come off of these alarms and send you a notification. Apple actually has a couple of interesting features in here. It allows you to click on the notification and drop in and listen to what's going on in the area. In the name of privacy, it'll it'll announce that somebody's listening, but, and I guess if you have a camera, a HomeKit capable camera in the area, it'll also allow you to get a live video feed from what's going on. So if your house is burning down, you can watch it from your phone if you got this feature turned on. So I don't know, thought it was pretty cool. Yay for, I do like making like old non-smart devices smart. And for a free upgrade from Apple, hey, that's pretty good.
Yeah, this is like an easy add-on feature that pretty much anybody can use, right? I mean, you just need existing smoke and CO detectors and it'll work. So genius idea, and I'm glad more products are coming out with this support. It's a very simple thing, but it really could be life-saving.
Yeah.
And I believe the Amazon product has this too, but it was only when you armed it or something like that in the guard features. I'd have to look that up, but I thought they already had something like this.
They do have it in their free tier of Guard, it says, but they don't have the same direct integration with cameras in the home.
Yes.
as Apple's giving you here.
Yeah.
Google Nest offers this as well, but you have to pay for the Nest subscription, and Ring also has it as well. It's $35, but of course you have to pay for the monthly Ring subscription now. So this is kind of the only free-ish, I guess, if you consider how much Apple tax you pay. It's the freest version of getting this feature, and I kind of like it. I have all these HomePods in my garage, but no smoke. I probably should have smoke detector out here.
Well, especially with those servers, but it's not that important.
Yeah. This giant rack of equipment might catch on fire.
Yeah, that was one of the first things I put into my giant wood box I just built in my office is a smoke detector, because I was like, it's all wood and everything. Who knows?
And if you don't have the HomePod, there's like a do-it-yourself version, a Z-Wave version called the EcoLink Firefighter that does the same type of thing. It's Z-Wave, so you can add it to your Home Assistant or your Habitat or whatever. And if it basically listens for the sound. And then once it hears the sound, it sets a trigger off, and you can have whatever automation. Some people, turn on the fan to their furnace to blow air through and unlock all the doors and turn on the lights and open the garage doors, just in case you were at home. It'd help you get out of the house faster. So something to consider.
Yeah, those are very popular in the security industry. I guess specifically for me, we pretty much sell one of those with every system, just because instead of replacing people's smoke detectors, we just install one or two of these and we're good. We got the whole house covered.
And you can get that nice, sweet security discount on your home insurance.
That's right.
Did you say it was EcoLink? EcoLink?
EcoLink, EcoLink Firefighter.
Oh, I see it.
And do not get the Zigbee one. It's not real Zigbee. It doesn't. I don't know what they did. I could never get it working. But get the Z-Wave one.
Yeah, and this is literally the same exact thing, but it comes in Z-Wave. I think the ones I use are 345 megahertz or whatever that is.
Yes.
But it's literally the same shell and everything.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, I'll put a link to that in the show notes. All right, big news from Sonos. They've launched a new product, and no, it is not headphones, CJ. I'm sorry.
No!
Sonos says, finally, I guess, for me, I've kind of been waiting around for this one for a while. They've announced their expansion into the commercial sector with the launch of Sonos Pro. It's a new software as a service offering, and is designed to make it easier for business to deliver music across in their business or across multiple locations using a subscription-based model. Sonos Pro provides businesses with a user-friendly dashboard, enabling remote system management across various locations, commercially licensed music, personalized support, and seamless integration with existing Sonos hardware. I don't know about you guys, but like almost everywhere I go, if it's a small mom and pop shop or, even like a hair salon or something like that, you're going to see a Sonos device sitting in there playing music. And I kind of always looked at that and thought, that's probably not legal, because it's not. But now for $35 a month, I guess you can have Muzak basically hooked up in your salon and don't have to worry about the ASCAP and BMI to come giving you a fine for playing music that's not licensed.
Yeah, I install a fair amount of Sonos in commercial properties, and you pretty much have to have somebody sign something that's like, I don't know what you're using this for, but you have to legally, get a commercial streaming service, which not that many really exist for Sonos. So the majority of places are not going to be doing this legally. So it's a good idea to actually have something like this. $35 a month really isn't that expensive for what it is, especially with all the extra remote management features you get out of it.
Most of the places I go in, they have their own playlists on their phone playing, because you see them, you see a song they did not think was in their playlist come on, and you see them run behind the bar and press a button, it skips to the next song. They're like, oh, that was in my car playlist, like. So yeah, I don't think it's just Sonos. I think anywhere people don't play commercial music, that commercial stuff.
No, most of the time, nobody's going to come around and actually look for you violating this, but they would probably make a lot of money if they did.
I think it depends on the business. Yeah. I think it depends on the business, especially if and they do. I've known piano bars to get hit by ASCAP and BNI reps that basically turn them in, and there are people that are hired to go around and shut down bars and that kind of thing. So it just depends on the business. And now that this is offered, I mean, and it's not just like the only one that was there. Like you could get Mood Music and tie it in with, which is the direct derivative of Muzak. Like they bought Muzak years ago. And I'm looking at their prices. They have a $30 and $35 plan, a $40 plan. So like it's about the same price. It just depends on kind of what you want to do. Do you want to just use the one that's built into Sonos, or you want to use one of the other ones and add it in as an app on Sonos and go that direction? There's been ways to do it. Sonos is just, a while back they did their Sonos Radio thing that pushed for like their own like free music service on Sonos, where you don't even have to install Pandora or Spotify or anything like that. You just play their music. This is kind of like where I figured they were going with it. I figured they would be there a lot faster. So probably the pandemic slowed them down a little bit.
Now all the streaming services just need to do something similar, because same thing. I go into a lot of businesses and doctors' offices and stuff like that, and they're playing Netflix. So
Yep.
Not supposed to do that.
I'm sure they do offer something similar, but these things have never been like real easy or inexpensive to do, right?
Like I said, majority of the places are not going to get in trouble for this. Like I'm sure that there are people that go around, but they're probably targeting like the Krogers and the Walmarts and stuff like that more than, churches and other doctors' offices.
Yep. Oh, I've only ever known bars and restaurants to get hit with it. Basically, that's never fun. If you own a piano bar, you're not paying your licensing, and then you've got to shut down for the night. It's not a good thing. So, all right. Anyway, let's move on here. All the links and topics we discussed tonight can be found on our show notes at HomeTech.fm/432. All right, we got something in the mailbag this week. It looks like a question
for Gavin.
Yeah, I don't know. I might be able to answer this one too.
Not Seth. I mean,
it's a NAS drive. All right. This comes from David. And listener David asks, I've always wanted to set up a NAS, so network attached storage, hard drive on your network. It says to provide a local media server and to provide a photo backup for all of our digital pictures. My concern has always been if there's a fire that my NAS would also likely be damaged and lose all of the digital pictures. He's onto something here. I had the same thing. So, all right, I've moved to a new house and it has an outbuilding with a conduit connection where I could run a fiber connection out to a switch in the outbuilding. This is now giving the option for an, quote, offsite NAS location that could still be on my local network. Does Unraid provide such a software option that the primary on-site NAS would handle all the intensive transcoding, but have a more basic NAS that would be in the outbuilding to provide redundancy? Are there other things in this situation where I'd be worried about, or should I just keep paying $2 per month for Google Cloud Backup? Gavin, I have opinions on this, but I want to hear what you got to say.
I want you to go first. You go first. Right. So you go first, and I'll correct you. So let's go.
Yeah. Well, I guarantee I don't know what to do about Unraid, but I do have Synology, which has options to back up to cloud services like Amazon S3 or Backblaze B2, which is much, much cheaper. I back up all of my photos from literally everything, and they all go into Backblaze. And if it saves in there, the Synology is smart enough to upload. I know that those maybe a plugin or something probably exists on Unraid as well to do that, and that is truly offsite backup, and it cost me probably $2 a month. Okay, maybe $2.88 I think is the last bill I saw come through, and it's terabytes of data. Like it's a lot. So check out those services. I think Wasabi is another, Wasabi cold storage or something like that. I don't remember what they call it, but they have different options with different price tiers for what you have. And as long as you're feeding the photos up, it's inexpensive and they just sit there and on the storage and they're fine. When you start downloading is kind of when things cost, but hopefully you never have to do that. Hopefully your NAS drives are okay. But that's what I would recommend. The outbuilding thing is kind of fun and something to think about, but the problem with that is it's still on the same property. If the fire happens and it spreads to the outbuilding, then there's your backup. Or if a lightning strike hits it and it just fries both of them, it's not the fire you got to worry about, it's the surges and that kind of thing. So that's my opinion. Gavin, what you got?
You pretty covered it. You covered it
Yeah.
nice. Like I'm impressed. I agree with everything you said. I personally, I have multiple backups. So I actually do have a backup server on premise, but it's not really to guard against something like lightning or stuff. It's just to have a second copy of the data on a second media in the house. But on top of that, all my data is backed up. I use iDrive. They give you 5 terabytes for a really good price per year. And I have everything backup, runs every night. There's a Docker container you can get and run on your Unraid if you want. And it will back up there. And I have all my most important data sits on that. And that's my offsite backup. So I do have a couple copies. On top of that, you have your photos on your phone as well. So I have a couple copies of my data. Backup's very important, but in your case, I would keep the $2 a month for Google Cloud Backup. And the other reason why I like the Google one is it gives you a nice app that you can view it with, right? So if you're backing it up to that, you still have an app you can view your photos on, or, do person recognition or whatever, have some fun with it. Whereas if you didn't have that, I still am trying to find the perfect Docker container for, displaying my photos to me, but still giving me all those features where it would group people together and I could search on photos, so Google does it pretty well. But yeah, Seth, you summed it up pretty nice. Unraid, look at Unraid, because if you're going to be doing a local media server, it's very powerful. There's so much you can do with it, especially when you start throwing a video card in there and let it handle all the transcoding for you. It will, and yeah, there's rsync. I think Duplicati can back up to an FTP server running on another box at someone else's house. That's other options too. I know people that have put boxes at each other's house and then just set up backups to sync to each other's box, and they're good with that. Or they just back up to the other person's Unraid server sitting at another house, right? So those are things to consider. But yeah, get one of your backups offsite, whether it's to a cloud, whether it's to a computer in a total different town or something like that, as long as it's offsite, so that if you get hit by a tornado or anything, it's still safe.
Yeah, I would only do the NAS if you want the media storage. I don't, maybe it's just me. I'm pretty clumsy and kind of YOLO things once in a while, but I don't trust to save my personal photos on my own NAS. I just use Google Photos for, the $2 or $10 or whatever I pay per month for the family account. And I love that because I can go through and search everything, but I have my Unraid server for like my actual Plex server and stuff like that. So my personal opinion is if you're just doing it for the photos, I wouldn't do it. I would just do some kind of online backup. If you actually want to use it for the media and Plex server and stuff, and getting into it is fun, but be prepared to spend a lot of money because hard drives are expensive.
No, they're not. I mean,
they are when you have like 10 terabyte hard drives. It kind of adds up pretty quickly. So if you're like Gavin, where you delete things, which is impossible for me, so it's not as expensive. But
those bits, I mean, I might as well just have like a CD burner, something that like it just may as well be permanent, because I'm never going to delete it. Like, just give me something that just can record it and that'll be it forever. I'm not going to delete it. It's going to stay.
Yeah, I only deleted stuff recently because the only way I can upgrade my server at this point is by buying 12 terabyte or larger drives. And with Unraid, you have to have the parity drive plus the first drive. And I'm not spending $500 on hard drives right now. So,
well, the good thing about Unraid is the parity drive has to be the biggest. So if you only want to add another 4 terabytes in, as long as your parity drive is 12 terabytes, you're fine. You can slowly creep in 4 terabytes at a time if you want.
That's true, but I don't have any more room in my computer case. So I'd
Time
have to
to
get an
upgrade. Come on,
external
let's.
device. Yeah.
Time to upgrade.
Yeah, the 3-2-1 backup strategy, 3 copies of your data, 2 on site, 1 off site. It's the way to go. I guess that kind of like people don't like that as much. So there's different types of backups that you can do now, but as long as 3 copies exist, like I know we're talking about Unraid, but and Synology is a different thing. I do like the Synology because they're kind of like just their own little hard drive type devices. There's less I have to think about with them in that situation. They're not performance driven like what you can get with Unraid. So like if you can run Dockers on them, but I don't think you can run them very well on there. Like they're very tiny little processors in these things. Unless you pay a lot of money, I think they have some that are bigger.
Yeah,
and
they're
better,
very expensive for what you get. I mean, it's nice because it's like an all-in-one solution. You really don't have to tinker with it and everything, but you are going to pay a premium for that functionality.
yeah, and they do have photo management apps like built in. So like you say, you load that app on there and say this is the drive with my or the share or whatever with my photos in it, and it does basically not it's supposed to be pretty good. It's just like Google Photos, except doesn't quite have the smarts that Google has. You know, I think it does groups the people together sometimes, but they're getting better with it, and it's supposed to be a pretty good thing. And they have the thing where you can. I've thought about this too. Like you can ship one of your Synologies to a relative's house or something. Just say, hey, plug this in, and then they can basically sync backups between themselves. Either you could let them use a share or something on there, it could sync to yours, and yours could sync to theirs. And they make it really easy. Like that's one thing about Synology is a lot of the features they have are just like point and click, dumb and easy, and there's really no thinking about it, which I do appreciate that from time to time,
But
especially when
you
my
pay for
Unraid
that
server's
too.
crashing. Yeah.
Yeah, it really depends on how tech savvy you are and how deep in the weeds you really want to get,
And if you're going with a backup solution, my only other advice is have something that notifies you when things are going good or going bad, right? So my main backup that it does every night, every morning, it sends me an email letting me know if it's successful. It doesn't do much, but there's been mornings where it actually failed or it was failing for the whole week. And I realized it was because it was looking for something that wasn't there anymore. So I was able to fix it. All my computers in my house back up to my Unraid server. And if they fail, I get an email or a notification that, hey, they failed to back up. So then I can rectify whatever situation it is, right? So just make sure you have some notification monitoring it. And then you want to test your backups every now and then to make sure that, hey, I can restore this backup and get to these files. Because you don't want to find out that you can't get to them at the time when you need them. So just some things to keep in mind.
Yeah. That I'm kind of lazy on the computer backup case, and that's I use Backblaze, and I just run their little thing, and it backs up all my files to their thing. But
Yeah.
what has happened before is I've deleted something, and like, oh, I need that file back. I shouldn't have deleted it. I deleted it a week ago. Well, it uploaded to Backblaze a week ago. I can still go back and get it. But what you're saying is so true. You have to test this from time to time. I don't know how I could do that with a computer backup, but you do need to know that your backups are good, because it did happen to me once where the backup I needed to restore was not good. It wasn't in a good state, and I had no options. Just kind of start over from that point. I was able to recover a lot of my files, but there's about a week's worth of stuff I was missing completely. So, yeah, luckily I didn't do much that week, I guess. Didn't affect me very much. But I would be devastated if I lost all my photos, and I could totally understand that. And that's why I don't trust anything at my house other than just storage here, and then sending it up to these fancy Backblaze servers that they have data centers of. So, all right, moving on here, we do have a pick of the week this week. This is kind of fun. I ran across this video of the DIY smart organizer, and this is one of those little like drawer organizer things that you see like people have in their garages with all the little nuts and bolts and everything. And he made this like every little shelf in there. If you imagine there's probably 20 of them, I guess, maybe more. Every little shelf in there has an LED behind it, and he can use an app that he made to find what he's looking for, and it will direct him to the correct the correct drawer to open, which is clever because when you have one of these, most of the time when you're using it, you're just like pulling the shell thing out, looking inside. Nope, that's not what I want. Pulling the thing out, and that's not what I want. And the video is great because there's a little surprise at the end, and we'll put a link to the video. And I see Gavin laughing. He must have gotten to it. And if you scroll down to the comments, he's like, "Yeah, I just couldn't. I was like, that's it. I wasn't gonna try and redo that just because that happened." So it's really good. There's a little what do you call it, malfunction at the very end. So
it's a cool idea, but honestly, it takes a lot of discipline to be able to like
categorize all that.
Not just that, but put them back in the same spot you took them out from, or put like so many times when I'm in the middle of a project, I'll open up the one I thought that I pulled that screw from, and I'll put it back in that one, and later on I'll find out my screws are all mixed up because I never put them back in the same one, or or I didn't put this in the right slot, so it'll take a lot of discipline. That would never work for me. I'm the open every drawer and figure out where it is type of guy.
That's what I do with all of my stuff in my garage, and I still can't find it.
Yeah, that's like my kitchen. I'm looking for a pot. I open every cupboard and look for it. It's always the last cupboard.
This is a good one. Not only is it a clever little project, there's a really funny thing that happens at the very end while he's demoing this thing. And after setting up demos and I've been kind of working on training presentations and videos, things for some stuff we're working at work. I can totally understand. I understand. You get to the end of it, everything went perfect except that very thing at the end, and hit publish. It's going out. Too good. We'll put a link to that in the show notes. All right. Well, if you have any feedback, questions, comments, picks of the weeks, or great ideas for organization or the show, give us a shout. Our email address is feedback@HomeTech.fm, or you can visit HomeTech.fm/feedback and fill out the online form. All right, project updates this week. Gavin, Home Assistant has the Home Assistant GPT plugin. Have you gotten that installed, and are you asking it to do things?
No, I'm not messing with that yet. Like the GPT is nice. It's cool concept, but when it comes to not home assistants, but like smart assistants, it's all about the hardware. Like you're going to need something with a good mic, and the logic behind, if you have multiple mics in it, which one picks up the audio, et cetera, right? The GPT is making it easy, I guess. Lower, what do they call it? Barrier to entry.
Lowering the bar, yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to integrating a smart assistant into the home. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be a big player when Home Assistant gets more into that voice part this year. They'll probably have a lot, of integration with the GPT, but I'm just waiting for it to mature a little bit, right? I want it to mature. A lot of this is almost like still POC, or this cool look at something I did, wait till it matures a lot and then see like reliably what it can do. I'm more afraid that, if they're going to be feeding it all Reddit data, this thing's gonna hate me. It's gonna be it's gonna be a jerk to me. I feel like, I don't know.
You're doing your automations wrong. Why are you doing it like that?
Yeah,
I can't believe you spent $20 on this.
Yeah, I'll be like, hey, Home Assistant, what's the weather like outside? Well, can't you look out the window? Aren't you by a window?
I see how it is. I let a robot mower at my house, and you're like, oh, you better treat it right. You won't even let the robots in your house.
Oh, my house is full of robots. I'm just selectively,
not the smart ones,
not the ones that, not the ones that think for themselves. Those I'm not letting in my house yet. I'm letting the ones that won't question me into my house for now. But I treat them well so they can send the message back that I was a good, robot guy.
It's in there. It's in the code.
When they come to take over the world.
There's an API for it, I'm sure.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Be nice to your robots.
We do have a little bit of follow-up. Last week, we talked a little bit about Tailscale, and I kind of mentioned that I'd used it and thought it was, the bee's knees for doing VPNs and how easy it was to set up. A friend of the show, Robert Spivak, wrote it into our Slack channel, and he actually did a video on how to set up a Tailscale VPN. So, we don't have to explain how to do that and everything. You just watch this video and you get some more info on that. And I guess this week they also announced that in their usage based stuff that they went from like having 3 devices for free, you can go up to 100 devices for free. So that's awesome.
Yeah, Tailscale is very popular with people. I mean, we talked about it last week, but it was just interesting because I saw this and they're making their free plans even better for people, and that's awesome, because more people get on this. I was also hearing that they're playing around with, I can't remember what the name of it, but they're testing something called Tailscale Tunnel, I think it's called, where it may allow you to expose like a web app or something like that on your Tailscale out to the internet to somebody that's not on
It's like
Tailscale.
Cloudflare or Ngrok.
Yeah, like that type of thing, which is kind of cool to think about it too, right? So they're doing a lot and they're just getting better and they're getting more popular.
Yeah, I had a project at work I called these guys about because fairly early on, the sales guy was nice. He was like, "Yeah, we really don't have anything that'll fit." He gave some reason why, but he was like, "You just can use whatever. Like we don't even." He's like, "We don't keep up with device counts. Like it says 3, but you can just do how many you want." So I guess the secret has been just like
just don't tell anybody.
Maybe we should edit that.
Nah, I mean it's 100 now. Who cares? Like clearly they don't. So
yeah.
But he was like, yeah, you can just use how many. They are still in startup mode as far as it goes, and I think the from what I gathered from him, from what he said about the CEO, he was like this is a big toy, and he loves every bit of, like, he's playing with. Like that week they announced the Tailscale. There's like an SSH thing that they added on to make SSH connections into devices like native to Tailscale. It was really cool. So they just keep playing and doing more stuff with this thing, and it's all based on that WireGuard VPN, which is it's easy to set up and manage, and this is just kind of wrapper on top of it. So cool stuff. And then I had one little update project that I was working on. I posted on Mastodon, so I'll put a link to that in the show notes. But I had a switch on my desk that had fans, and I was sitting here listening to it, and it was so loud, and it would crank up from time to time, like the fans. I had 3 things plugged into the dang thing, and I was like, nope, it's got to go. So I had a Ubiquity. What is this thing? It's like it's an old one. It's like one of the little 8-port switches that was made for business. And for whatever reason, they made these perfect little rack ears for it. And they're just little stubby rack ears. They weren't a full 19 inches wide. Like the thing is probably 10 inches wide. And there's 9 extra inches. Well, I started digging around in all of my junk that I have next to all the old equipment that I have. And I found a Cisco SG300, and it had rack ears on it. So I took those and put them together with some bolts that I found in one of those drawer things that I have. And then I was able to extend it the extra, couple inches, 6 inches or 9 inches or whatever it needs to reach the end of the thing. I made my own little rack ears, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I'm proud of myself because that's really,
it's good.
Yeah, that's really all I got.
You got to spray paint a silver, but
no. I don't even want the silver switch here anymore. Got to spray paint the switch black. Like this thing's old. It's been used somewhere. I grabbed it from somebody's house or something when they were throwing it away. So it's serving a purpose right now to basically power the touch screen on my desk, and that's it. So as soon as I get some new stuff from work, they're supposed to be shipping me some new switches. So the new versions are all coming in. So I guess you can run those in fanless mode. Hopefully I can, because if they have fans, man, it was just too loud. Right here, it was just too loud. Had to go. Bye. TJ, you got any projects you're working on? Got any fans you're killing?
No,
or
not this week. It's pretty lame week. I'm just getting back into the flow of everything, really. So nothing fun going on. I did replace the speakers in the van and installed the radio, but I think we talked about the radio last week. So
got new speakers though. You're really decking out the van, man.
Yeah, I'm not really like an audiophile or anything, but when you have terrible speakers, and the speakers in a stock van are not good. So I traded up my old head unit that was in the van for 2 sets of speakers. One set of the speakers went into the van. One set's going to go into the wife's car this weekend, and all is good. But when I installed the ones in the van initially, I didn't realize that they made like a special bracket for it, because the door itself isn't actually deep enough to hold a speaker. And so the speaker is externally mounted on the door with this like giant, like 3-inch tall bracket. And so it got them installed, and they're all like rigged up with like a TV mounting kit, the little spacers that you get and everything.
Oh, so I'm not the only one who's done this weird rack. Yeah.
Oh no, definitely not. But when I went to go close the door and I heard the speaker slam into my window, I was like, I should probably go ahead and just get the proper bracket. So that's what I spent some of my day to day doing.
I love doing things twice. It's the best.
Yeah, it's the best.
Yeah. That way you got it done right.
It's all right when you're not getting paid for it though, so that way you don't have to waste your money at least. So just waste
your time. It's worth nothing.
It's infinite, Yeah.
All right, guys. I think it's going to wrap it up this week. But we do want to give a big thank you to everyone who supports the show, and especially those who are able to financially support the show through our Patreon page. If you don't know about the Patreon page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support to learn how you can help support HomeTech for as little as $1 a month. Any pledge over $5 a month gets you a big shout out on the show, but every pledge gets you an invite to our private Slack chat, The Hub, where you and other supporters of the show can gather every day and talk about I know there's been quite a few posts in here recently about that really cold day you guys had in Canada, Gavin, where everybody turned blue on TV for some reason. That was fun. And it's been just a pretty good post. We've been kind of talking about recently, what were you talking about? Richard dug up one of those HomeSeer apps and posted it, and I'm going to have to delete that photo out of there.
That interface was awful.
Oh, so something today I learned. I didn't realize that Cat 6A stood for Augmented Category 6 Cable. So if you didn't know that as well, welcome to my world.
I knew the E, but in the E enhanced or something like that. Cat
yeah,
5.
E is enhanced. Why didn't they just stick with the same terminology though? Like they just in the order of it's completely wrong too. But Augmented Cat 6. There you go.
Today you learned. All right. And if you want to help out the show but can't support financially, I totally understand. We just appreciate a 5-star review on iTunes or positive rating in a podcast app of your choice. That's going to wrap up another week here on HomeTech. Everybody have a great weekend. We'll see you next week.
Take care.